Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. The lineup today is interesting because he's left Walker out, he's played Luis there. I actually think he might have had this in mind for the midweek game against Leipzig as well, which we played 3 days back. That should have played Walker, should have played Luis because Luis gives you that control in the midfield, for example, whereas Walker is much more useful in those defensive duels out wide. So I don't know, but I thought that against Leipzig in the second half, first half we controlled well, but whereas in the second half we were a bit more passive, I would say. We allowed them to press more, but that's for another day. We have another leg to go. But the interesting thing for me here is two players, Phil Foden and Julian Alvarez. And I mean, it's not a given that Alvarez will play in the midfield and Foden will play on the right wing. I mean, there's a bit of a chance that Alvarez could go on the right and Foden could actually play in the midfield, or it could also happen that Foden on the left, Alvarez on the right, and Grealish in the midfield. Well, as fans, that would be a dream lineup, right? Grealish in the midfield, along with Gundogan and Foden on the left and Alvarez on the right. Wow, with Haaland through the middle. I think that would be the best attacking lineup we would have had since Sane and Sterling, since those type of wingers, because Foden and Alvarez can be fast, they can be direct, they can run at the defenders. But I don't think he will play that way. What I don't want to see is little passes, being very passive, backward passing, going nowhere, and then you do against Forest. Today, seeing West Ham absolutely demolish Nottingham Forest 4-0 or so on, I was actually like, we should have done that last week. We could have easily done that last week. Well, nothing's over. Nothing's over. It's just 2 points for Arsenal, and they have a match against us at the Etihad. So I mean, we have come out of tougher title races like last 7 matches left. Last 6 matches left at a point in 2011-12 season when we were 8 points behind United, and still I think it was 5 matches left and we were 8 points behind United, and still we won the title. So there have been title races in the past where we have had a much bigger deficit. Now it's I know we are 2 points behind Arsenal, but the game in hand, I think we'll have to remember is we have to play them. So if we can get a result there, if we can even get even a draw there, a draw might not be a bad option at the Etihad actually, because if we can get a draw there, I think then it would just be 2 points that would separate both Arsenal and us, having almost played the same number of matches. So a draw might not be a bad result that they had. I mean, with that result at the Emirates, we have actually gained more than what we have lost against by dropping points against Nottingham Forest actually, because that draw at the Emirates, that win at the Emirates will put psychological doubts into the mind of Arsenal when they come and play at the Etihad, because all we need is a draw, and in the best case scenario win at the Etihad, and you will have what last 6-7 matches of the season will be a brilliant one, and you'll have gained psychological edge. Last 7 matches of the season, 2 points difference is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. So we just need to keep the pressure on. I think if we have to win this title from here, we have to go on a run of 14 matches. We can't afford to lose any match. We can't afford to even draw any match. If we can go on a run of 14 matches, I think we win this Premier League. It's as simple as that. We have to we have to go on that monstrous run. Uh, there's absolutely no other way out. Oh, it's an interesting formation that actually they're showing here. It's 4-4-2 with Alvarez and Haaland playing as a 4-4-2. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a kind of 4-4-1-1 version as well, where Alvarez just plays in behind Haaland. We'll not know unless we see what the players are gonna do on the pitch. I pretty much think that Pep is inclined towards one of his settled formation. I mean, but whatever happens from now on till the end of the season, whatever happens in the Champions League against Leipzig, whatever happens in the FA Cup, we'll have to remember one thing, that we are under transition this season. We are definitely going through transition this season. The one example of that is Pep has not had a settled lineup till now. Even now, he doesn't know his settled lineup. When was the last time that you saw Pep without a settled lineup? uh, come January, come February, come the second half of the season. I know in previous seasons when he won the titles, he fiddled with the lineup a lot, but but come January, come February, he always had that settled core of 8, 9 players. He would tinker one or two, yes, but now he's unsure of who to play at the center of the defense, who to play at the right back position. Sometimes when who to play at the on the wing. So it's almost like it's the reverse now. It's almost like Pep has only 2, 3 players who are permanent fixtures in the team, and rest all are like changing. He's not made up his mind. And I think we'll have to accept this fact. I mean, a lot of City fans are not able to accept this fact that we are going through transition, and it's not that we have bottled the Premier League title if we don't win it this year. Because when was the last time we went through transition? 2016 under Pep. After that, tell me a year when we went through transition. Okay, there was a year when Laporte injury and all that, but that is injuries. You can have a bad year. That's not transition. But since Pep's first season, there were no transition, and we won 4 Premier League titles in 5 years. We are going for an unprecedented third Premier League title in a row. It's been just done once. It's been just done once in the history of this competition from 1880s, winning 3 Premier League titles in a row. I think we need to keep all that in mind before questioning our team, before tearing into our team. I've seen a lot of hate on social media going to Edison, going through our players that they just seem to have lost it. No passing, this, that. Well, keep your words where your mouth is. Look at the team you're talking against. This is the team that is going for the third Premier League title in a row. You don't get these type of teams often in the history of the Premier League. That is well pinched. It's a kickoff. The match has started. Akanji to Lewis. Pep will want to start very fast, and he would want to sustain that pressure. So, like I was saying, mind your words. Just even to our fan base and other fan bases as well. I mean, I don't care about other fan bases what they think of our team, but just keep in mind which team you're talking against. This is a team that is almost that has edged itself in greatness. Jack Grealish, it's a corner of a city. Are they appealing for something? I don't think so, but it's a corner of a city. Look at Rodri. Look at him taking the initiative. Ah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Come on, guys. So it's okay for me even if we go trophyless this season. That is fine. A cycle of 6 years in football is definitely fine. It's not that I'm throwing in the towel or it's not even that I'm giving up, but a cycle of 6 years in football, and a transition happens every 3 years, 4 years in football at the most. You see other teams. You see Chelsea. You see Liverpool. They've gone through transitions almost twice, right? In this period when Pep Guardiola has won so much. It has won so many titles. And the Real Madrid team, the Barcelona, you look at all of the teams. It's a cycle of 3, 4 years in football, and you have done exceptionally well to extend that cycle by 2 more years. So whatever happens to this season, it's totally fine. This is football. We have lost the ball over there. City are pressing very high. It's Foden of the right and Grealish of the left, and Alvarez is playing alongside Gundogan. I actually think it's interesting. I know people are questioning the role of Julian Alvarez in the team. They're telling why is Pep not making Alvarez play as a striker, and all of those things. Some are even suggesting Alvarez will go at this rate and all. But people need to realize. I think it's the same people who had lost their mind when Pep was actually playing Lionel Messi and that sort of role as a false nine. But look at what that has done to Messi. So I think we need to be patient with the plan that Pep has in the mind for Julian Alvarez. Play the ball to Haaland. Play the ball to Haaland. Ah, just not played it to Haaland soon enough. This game is just going end to end. This game has already got end to end. Rico Lewis. Manuela Kenji, Edison. It's a throw in for City. So I think we'll have to have patience with what Pep has in mind for Julian Alvarez. We need to have patience with what Pep has in mind for Phil Foden. It's been ridiculous this week, especially after the defeat to Nottingham Forest and after the draw with Leipzig. People are losing their shit. People were thinking, "Wow, Foden will leave, Alvarez will leave, Haaland will leave." Let's bloody have patience with the best coach in world football. Let's bloody have patience with the coach who's won us 4 Premier League titles in 5 years. Has Sir Alex Ferguson ever won 4 Premier League titles in 5 years? I don't know. So let's bloody have patience with one of the best coaches we're seeing in English football and potentially one of the best teams we have seen from the period of 2017 to 2022. So let's keep some respect on that. Then going all in on all of them. Bournemouth are actually playing toe to toe with City. This is interesting. I thought they'll part the bus, but this is interesting. I mean, looking at the lineup for this match, especially after the Leipzig match, especially after the Nottingham match, especially after the Arsenal match, I think you get a sense Pep has settled down with Diaz, Akanji, and Nathan Ake has three of his trusted defenders. Probably he will play Kyle Walker or Rico Lewis, depending on whoever suits the system and the opposition. I think if Pep feels he needs to have more possession and control, I think he plays Lewis. Or if Pep feels he needs the defensive experience in 1v1 situations, then I actually think he plays Kyle Walker. So the defense almost seems to be sorted right now. I mean, it's the front three, I think, especially the front two, both alongside Haaland and one of the midfield positions that actually is a bit, especially I think the front three is where Pep is a bit unsure, especially who fits well alongside Haaland. I know Grealish actually seems to have nailed down that position on the left side. So I think Pep has two positions here, which is not sure of who plays on the right side of Haaland and who plays in the center ahead of Rodri. So I think those two, three positions are where Pep actually is a bit unsure. So let us see how that progresses. But it's actually good to see that Pep is settling on a certain kind of a lineup come the fag end of the season. And I find that very, very refreshing actually, very good. The only thing I'm keen of is how do we make that play to Haaland much more faster. That's the only thing. What a ball that is. What a ball that is. Phil Foden goes infield. Rodri gets the ball. Rodri with a strike. I thought that was a bad decision by Rodri because he had so many players ahead of him and still he felt the need to go for that shot. City have started the match. I won't say quite well. I won't say we have started the match on fire, but the tactics certainly seem to be different. It's more of it's more of quickness in the attack to get the ball from back to front much more faster rather than relying on the short passes. I know why he relied on short passes against Leipzig, and I can understand that control was excellent. It was almost one of the perfect away performances in the first half, especially in the Champions League. That is good pressing and that's good play from Erling Haaland actually. And City do well to retain the ball back. Ruben Diaz, the game is end to end. The game has gone end to end. Manuel Akanji. Every game is a final from now on. So I'll not sit here and say, oh, we need to win against Bournemouth, we need to win against this team. Every bloody game is a final from now on till the end of the season. Every game, be it in the FA Cup, in the Champions League, whatever. Yes. Rico Lewis, Rodri spread it to the right hand side. Manuel Akanji, Phil Foden, Manuel Akanji, Rodri. Good ball there, and Nathan Ake gets the ball on the left hand side. Nathan, yes, he's laid it off to Rodri. Rodri just spread it on to the right, and Rodri does well to find that Akanji. Just quicken the play up a little bit more, guys. Rodri, and that's gone out for a City throw in. This is better. This is far better than what we had seen against Nottingham Forest already. When we lost, it feels like a loss, but when we dropped points against Nottingham Forest, I felt bad. But when you realize it in the whole context of what we did in the last 5 years, you just stop feeling bad, because this is a team that has won so much, that has given you so many moments, that you excuse them for little small mistakes like those. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's damn fine. The team is going through transition, like I've been saying from the start of this stream. Team is going through stream transition. Manuel Akanji, Rodri, Ilkay Gundogan does well to play the ball to Rodri, and Rodri to Jack Grealish. City get the ball again. Rodri to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis. Foden, I think, just can't pinch it through, and it's nothing. Ake City are putting on the gears. City are engaged in the gears. Slowly but steadily, Jack put the ball into the box. Rodri just gives it away, and that's just not what Rodri should do. And Akanji does well to cut out the danger, but it was such a good attack developing for us, and Rodri gave it away. I know Rodri is a bit of it, and I won't go in on him. Continuous football for the last 1 year or so. Played every bloody match in the World Cup, so I think I won't go in on Rodri at all. Jack, just spread it. There's so much space. There's so much space on this side, Jack. Jack does well. Yeah, Phil Foden has the ball. This is good play from Foden. JSK says, today I'm rooting for Bournemouth. Hope we concede 6 goals, and finally Baldi realizes why my keeper deserves number one spot. Roof will fall through. If we concede 6 goals to Bournemouth. JSK. Nice is already frustrated. Nothing for Haaland. But this somehow seems different, Vinay. This somehow seems that we are going. Haaland might actually get a hat trick today. It somehow seems different. There is a bit of quickness of play, sharpness of play when compared to especially that Leipzig game, and especially that Forest game. So I mean, Pep even acknowledged that it's not Haaland's mistake; it's our mistake in the press conference. So I think Pep is understanding it, but like I said, Pep is still looking at some of the attacking structures and how best to get Erling Haaland into the game. But I think we need to be patient this season. I don't see this happening overnight, that suddenly we turn into a team that provides the best passes for Erling Haaland. I think Pep is working out something, and we know that implementing a system in place takes time, I think, because even I was frustrated a lot with those back passes. For example, Leipzig second half, Nottingham Forest second half, a lot. But I actually think, thinking about it a bit more calmly, thinking about it a bit more deeply, you actually understand that Pep is trying to transform the system. But I think a team that has played 5 seasons with a false nine, not five, and 6 seasons with a false nine, suddenly you put a striker and ask them to play. I don't think it's that easy as we think. Don't think it's I don't think it's as easy as flicking a switch actually. So I think this season actually we need to accept that a bit. I'm not telling we won't win anything or stuff this season. I'm still rooting for the team, but I think we need to give the team to sort of transform from a back false nine to a striker system. because it's not as easy as putting balls to Haaland. Now we can say, why doesn't Gundogan put a through ball to Haaland? Why doesn't Bernardo give a through ball to Haaland and stuff? But when you play in that false nine system for long, I think your patterns of play, your movement, they all become so natural that it takes time to adjust and move away from that. So I actually think that is what we are going through. It's almost like trying to adapt to new sort of a new attacking structure where you can have more control and still play a Haaland in. So you can actually see the frustration on Pep's face. And the last time I saw this frustration on Pep's face was in the 2016 season when he had just come to the club that season and he was implementing his philosophy. So I think we should actually equate this season to that 2016 season almost. How we have learned a new philosophy. I actually think we need to give that chance to Pep this season. What a goal! Haaland initially thought he's put that in, but who's put that in? Who's put that in? Is it Jack Grealish who had put that in? Who's put that in? Because initially I thought Haaland's put that in, but something happened at the far post. Oh, it's Alvarez. Alvarez put that in. Wow. If Alvarez put that in, that is Alvarez's 10th goal for City in all competitions. Not a bad return for a player who's played sporadically, right? 10th goal in all competitions. Look at the poaching instinct of Julian Alvarez. Onside. Foden's definitely onside. Haaland's finish is actually good. It hits the Dember. And Alvarez is there to finish. Now, when we look at this, the ball hits the Dember. When did it hit the Dember last against Forest? That is why poacher like Alvarez is so important. Julian Alvarez there putting the ball in, wonderful, and Haaland gets the assist. I think Haaland should get the assist. It's just wonderful, wonderful play from Julian Alvarez. I actually think Pep has a few attacking structures in mind. One not including Alvarez and another including Alvarez. I mean, how do you play with the combination of Alvarez, Foden, and Haaland with Grealish, for example? I think there are a lot more attacking structures. Like for example, when Haaland is there and you don't play Alvarez and you play Bernardo, for example, in the midfield, it's you play a midfield of Gundogan, Bernardo, Rodri with Haaland up front and Grealish, Mahrez. I think the style of play becomes absolutely different. The attacking structure becomes different. And when Foden's on the right wing, because he's a different player to Riyad Mahrez, Foden's much more aggressive in the press and things like that. Mahrez is kind of different. He takes his time on the ball. He can cut inside, gives you more control. So I think in a false nine system, it became a lot more easier to accommodate players like that. But it's a free kick for Bournemouth, but especially with Haaland, I think you need different plans depending on the one or two players, especially the wingers playing alongside him. So I think Pep has one, two, even three attacking structures and plans in his arsenal that he's giving that is actually making us practice in the training field. So I think, and it's not easy for players to just learn one attacking structure and just play it on the field. No. It's just like repeat wins, and that takes time. So looking at all this, I'm like a bit more patient regardless of what happens this season. I think especially the hate. I was actually hurt a lot by the hate City received against. I'm repeating this, but I really I was really hurt a lot by the hate we received, especially after what happened against after Nottingham Forest and the Leipzig game, where people were questioning things. Okay, it's one part of the game, but when you look at the overall structure, I think the scenario is different. You look at the project as a 6-year project under Pep or things like that. It's totally different. That the kind of philosophy we've implemented in the club, the how long we have come in terms of developing our academy, bringing in prospects from our academy, everything in the grassroots football. So when you put that into perspective, I think you can give a leeway to Pep this season, especially thinking about the transition. Is surely trying to implement something different and it's not coming off. Alsta says, sorry, I can't watch a stream today. I'll probably watch it next time. Have a good day. Thank you, Alsta. You too have a good day, mate. Erling Haaland, Phil Foden with the ball, Ikai Gundogan gives it to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis to Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis to Phil Foden. Manuel Akanji. Erling Haaland. Early ball to Erling Haaland. JSK says and Gundogan and Silva, they're not fit with our striker system. Exactly, JSK. They're not fit for the striker system. And just think about this, this summer we got this summer we got Erling Haaland, we got Julian Alvarez, we got Calvin Phillips, we got Manuel Akanji. Right? I'm actually missing someone. I don't think so. So we had signed for 4 players, right? So we've signed 4 players, right? So I mean, we couldn't have changed the entire system. We couldn't have offloaded even Bernardo Silva, Gundogan. There was no room in the transfer window as well. So I actually think I'll have to agree on this with you guys. Like Gundogan and Bernardo are just too conservative with this system. They're not fit for the striker system. Like Vinay says, Silva is conservative. Gundo has that ability, but always back passes doesn't progress. Gundo has that ability, but Gundo is not a 23, 24-year old, right? Erling Haaland is through. Erling Haaland's through. It hits the bar, it hits the side netting. And Gundo is, we should remember, 32, 33. So he's not the same player like he was in 2016. He's not 26, 27 where he was in his prime, right? And Bernardo, for me, Bernardo always, I thought Bernardo always suits the false nine system, but his work rate, his pressing and everything. And Bernardo is not the best at playing those through balls, right? Playing those accurate through balls, trying to play them. So I think it's Phil Foden with the corner. That's actually a good corner there. You're absolutely right, Winner. This midfield needs to be revamped actually. Gundo, Bernardo. I actually wouldn't be surprised if there's an entire midfield revamp in the summer transfer window. JSK says, can Haaland play Haaland false nine? I think it would be rubbish JSK to play Haaland as a false nine. I mean, if you wanted to play someone as a false nine, then why did you buy Haaland? There were better players who suited for that system. Joao Felix would have been a perfect false nine for us. Or you could even say Julian Alvarez. Don't go beyond Julian Alvarez. Julian Alvarez would have been the perfect fit. You keep Jesus in the team and give him chances, and Julian Alvarez would have been perfect. You need not have spent so much amount on Erling Haaland if all you wanted was to have Erling Haaland play false nine. It's almost like spending $1 zillion on a machine to not have it perform its best function. So I actually think if you had to play false nine, then Haaland was not the answer. The very premise that we went for Erling Haaland, I mean, Pep would have approved it. I'm very sure that Tixigi Bagarassan, Ferran Soriano, the Khaldun Al Mubarak, the transfer committee and all, they would not have done anything without Pep's permission, especially on transfers. Pep would have walked out if he wanted a false nine and we bought a striker. So Pep did it with Zlatan, for example. Zlatan was a star signing for Barca back then, but still Pep didn't hold back. So I actually think that Pep was talking about having a striker system, and it's with Pep's permission that we bought on Erling Haaland. So I actually think that we need to play with the striker system, but what we see is probably we'll see some centre backs also coming through. I think Josko Guardiol or someone of that ilk will also come through. A good left back will come through. I think one of the things about playing with the striker system is more than the midfield. I actually think your fullbacks are so important, and I think we're not realizing it. The fullbacks, just imagine fullbacks overlapping and putting those balls into the box, right? Which means that even if you're countered, your midfield is always back. So I don't think we have those sort of fullbacks. Nathan Ake doesn't come forward and put balls into the box. And Rico Lewis doesn't do that at all. Rico Lewis just inverts, for example, and he uh, just comes inside. So I think we are going heavily for buying fullbacks next season. The soul of any structure under Pep is actually the fullback system. With false nine, he needed those inverted fullbacks, and now with the striker system, I think he'll be looking for fullbacks who can maraud up and down the pitch. An example is how we played when Ben Mendy was fit. At least in that, if you remember the Liverpool game where we won 4-0 final 2017, when Sadio Mane was sent off for a high foot on Ederson. Mendy had two assists that game. Gabriel Jesus and Sergio Aguero played as double striker system 4-4-2. We played that game with control, with a lot of rhythm and all. The main reason was Mendy coming and marauding and putting those crosses into the box. I think the main target should be a fullback who can, ideally two fullbacks who can just maraud up and down the pitch and put those balls in. Walker's also not good enough for putting those balls in. JSK says they need to load off. Exactly, we have done that. JSK says we have done that. Vinay says our midfield doesn't progress with ball direct pass, and that comes from playing that false nine system. Vinay, in that false nine system, you can't progress the ball because there's no one there. So for players who are suited with that false nine system, I think you always look for that extra pass and stuff like that. Whereas Haaland keeps on making his runs. So not the mistake of Bernardo Silva, not the mistake of Gundogan or whoever plays there. I actually think it's how the system was that we have actually played for so long. JSK is because Aguero can play false nine. Exactly. Aguero was so underrated in his technical ability, right? If only Aguero was 3-4 years younger when Pep came, Aguero's numbers would have been, I mean, not the same, but Aguero would have been playing on the same level as similar to what Lionel Messi did for Barcelona, because Pep would have just used him so much. Ferland Mendy, JSK. Ferland Mendy is actually not someone who I would prefer, because Ferland Mendy defends exceptionally well, but attacking wise, Ferland Mendy is shite. Ferland Mendy is shit. Attacking wise, I think fullbacks we have been linked to an Italian the Inter Milan left back. I think Di Marchio is his name, and we have actually been linked to him. He's a marauding fullback. He loves to play left midfield, left back, and left wing back. So what a ball that is! It's intercepted. It's intercepted. That is a dream ball for someone like Erling Haaland over there. Those are the kind of balls you'd love to see. Dimarco puts good balls exactly overlapping. He's almost very good. He's the modern fullback. Can put good balls. He can underlap. He can cut inside as well. So I think Demarco is good, and we have a realistic chance as well. I mean, there have been various news outlets reporting that City Scouts have strongly referred Demarco. City Scouts have been so much impressed with Demarco. Denzel Dumfries is also interesting, but I think Demarco is more gettable than Denzel Dumfries. Denzel Dumfries is in AC Milan, right? If I'm not wrong. Denzel Dumfries is in AC Milan, and I actually think Demarco is more gettable. Anthony Robinson, I think we'll go for Anthony Robinson because we'll get him for 25 million. I think, if not for 30, I think we'll get him for around 25 million. Demarco is also Inter Milan, right? I think Denzel Dumfries plays on the other side. I'll admit I don't know much about Denzel Dumfries, but DiMarco is someone I've actually read about and watched a lot this season. Anthony Robinson is another interesting one, but for me, I think Anthony Robinson has pace, he has the delivery, and I actually think DiMarco suits us much better than an Anthony Robinson. Vinicius Dumfries is shit defensively, though he seems physical. Dimarco is good defensively as well, right? He's a typical Italian fullback. And I also think we need that Italian defensive mentality in this team. I think, they tell that Italian stubborn defense. I actually think that is what we actually need for this team. They put the ball in. It's Ilkay Gundogan, Phil Foden, Erling Haaland. Haaland scores. Foden assists. Wow. Is this the beginning of another relationship between Phil Foden and Erling Haaland? This goal might mean a lot in the context of this season. Look at the way everyone is hugging each other. Look at the way Erling Haaland is hugging Phil Foden. This might just be the game where Phil Foden returns to regular game time in the team. This that pass is just wonderful. I think it's Ilkay Gundogan doing the third man run. Good cross. Phil Foden lays it off, and Erling Haaland excellent finish. I actually think these are the type of balls that Prep actually craves for more rather than playing Erling Haaland indirectly for those runs. Yes, playing Erling Haaland directly for those runs with excellent through balls is nice to see, but it's not always possible because in that scenario, if you lose the ball, the opposition counters. But I think this is the scenario which Pep really wants happening more often. Like from the wings, you put the ball in. Erling Haaland's there, Julian Alvarez there, for example. Jack Grealish is there. And I think these kind of scenarios are more possible when you have attacking fullbacks, which means that there'll be an overlap out wide. There'll be forward and there'll also be the attacking fullback. It will be much harder to defend against. I think this is the strategy of getting more from Haaland, not his counter-attacking runs, because this kind of thing is much more difficult to defend against. JSK says, or how about Emerson Royal? I'm leaving JSK, mate. If it's Emerson Royal, I'm just gonna switch off that season. That season is as good as writing off if Emerson Royal comes. I think if Emerson Royal lands here, Pep Guardiola is off to Catalonia or wherever it is. I think Erling Haaland goes off if Emerson Royal comes. I first of all can't stand Emerson Royal. His gameplay is one of the most shittiest fullbacks in the league. I don't know how Antonio Conte actually bought him. When I says Haaland 1-2 is also a spot that must be noticed exactly the 1-2s by Haaland. I think getting the best out of Haaland apart from playing apart from playing the through ball where he can run on to, I think the two good things are like when I says that 1-2 with Haaland, which means you need a third man runner like an Ilkay Gundogan going, making runs from that midfield and then playing 1-2s with Haaland, or you put the ball from out wide into the box. So I think those two can actually be the best scenarios where we can get the best out of Haaland, because how many times are you just gonna be playing those through balls for Erling Haaland? Someone is just going to cut it off, right? They're going to man mark De Bruyne, or then they're going to just cut off the supply. It's not so easy to play through balls at this kind of a level, especially. So that's an excellent point. When the 1-2s with Haaland and Haaland is exceptional at playing 1-2s. Whenever I've seen Haaland assist or play those 1-2s, I know we haven't seen Haaland do that more often, especially in the second half of the season. But he's excellent at that. He's excellent at assisting, especially inside the box and things like that. So there are multiple ways of getting the best out of Haaland, and I think Pep is working on them. That's why I say that we have to give Pep a little bit more time than judging him and thinking that Pep is shite, Pep needs to go, Pep has lost it, Pep doesn't know how to play with an attacking, with a striker. The greatest coach in the world not knowing how to play with a striker is just humorous to say the least. I think this game has been actually the actually one of the perfect templates. I'll say that there have been a few imperfections, but in general, we have utilized Haaland really well. We have got him more involved in the game, especially with him not coming far into the midfield to get the ball. We have picked out his movement, but we have done it cleverly from those balls from outward and things like that. Vinay says, my concern is the midfield, it's the backbone. We need a refresh of the midfield, Vinay. This midfield is, I mean, first of all, it's kudos that even with this midfield, which is not suited to this system, and also having Rodri, who's almost out of breath. Actually, look at how many games that guy has played last season without any rest. So many games this season. Played the World Cup almost lot. All the games for Spain has been playing non-stop. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, you name the competition is played in all but one or two matches. So it's kudos that with our Rodri, who's just been overplayed, and also a midfield that has generally been out of form in Bernardo. KDB's form has been iffy here and there, and all of those things. We have still managed to be second in the Premier League, and if not for a few shitty results like against Forest, like against Everton, for example, and things like that, we would have and conceding a city goal against Aston Villa, Leon Bailey scoring from outside the box. I mean, you just take those results here and there, and we are actually almost top of the Premier League. And now, even right now, we are not far of the Premier League, like 2 points, a game in hand. Arsenal have to come to Etihad, which in perspective is their game in hand. So despite of all of these problems, kudos that we haven't collapsed like Liverpool. It could have been very easy to collapse like Liverpool. We have still actually performed very well, keeping pace with everyone. It's very interesting. I think that is the positive which we need to take out of this season, because the midfield is surely not in good shape this season. Vinas says now Rodri should have rested for this game, but Phillips turned out to be shit, absolute shit. And Sam Lee from the Athletic actually writes that Pep thinks Calvin Phillips, Pep and his coaching staff think Calvin Phillips is just not suited for. I mean, not suited, but they're actually not ready yet to play in Pep's system. I know I can understand playing as a midfielder in Pep's system is difficult, but for me, Calvin Phillips has already played as a midfielder in one of the most complex tactical systems in the world under Marcelo Bielsa, where playing as a midfielder is even more complex than playing in a Pep system, because there's no protection for you. You're on your own. So it's a bit of worry that Calvin Phillips hasn't adapted, but he's had a few injuries and stuff. So I would actually say that let's give him time. Next season, probably, I think, because if we all have been writing of Jack Grealish, and look at what Jack Grealish has actually done this season, is slowly coming into the fore. I actually think we bought Jack Grealish for Bernardo, because when Jack Grealish came, the article that came out in the Athletic was Pep actually sees Jack Grealish more as a number 8, more in that Bernardo Silva role than anything else, more in that box to box role, or even in an attacking midfield role, because Jack Grealish can control the tempo of the game. The way Jack Grealish even now he runs through the midfield is just tremendous. The way he runs through there. So actually, I think I'll not be surprised if in the summer we put Jack Grealish in the midfield. We get a right winger like a Rafael Leao, and we put Foden on the left. I mean, there are a lot of permutations and combinations. People are saying Jude Bellingham. If we don't get Jude Bellingham, we'll be in trouble. But I actually think we can put Phil Foden in the midfield as well, and then we can buy another left winger and a right winger, for example. So there are actually a lot more permutations. Yeah, swap with Rice. So there's another thought going on, Vinay, that if we don't get Jude Bellingham, probably we'll go for Declan Rice. Edison's doing well. There are a few saves, and Bournemouth get a corner. So the summer transfer window will be more than exciting and interesting. I think it will be one of the most important windows after the 2016 season, I would say, where we got in, and 2017 transfer windows, where we got in a lot of players, especially before that Centurion season, right? I think this window might be the second most important window in Pep Guardiola's tenure at City. This might shape our next 5 6 years of a cycle. And you look at the kind of signings that Pep Guardiola is also getting in. Maxima Parone is someone which people are, what people have been telling, we should have got Enzo Fernandez for 35 million back then, Yes, he has been offered to us along with Julian Alvarez, we didn't get him, but we have got Maxima Parone, and they say Maxima Parone is the next Frankie de Jong. He's as good. His potential goes as far as his potential goes as far as almost Enzo Fernandez, and he can even do that. But if you're getting a Frankie De Jong type midfielder in Maxima Parone, then I think it's exciting because just imagine Frankie De Jong playing in this team and playing in place of a Bernardo Silva or playing in place of a Gundogan, right? Frankie De Jong is much more progressive. He makes runs from the midfield. I think the same Maxima Paroni, you have that sort of a midfielder who doesn't lose possession, who's press resistant, and who also plays those through balls, whose vision is excellent. So, and who has a good shot on him. So Maxima Parone, I think, is will be very critical, very crucial to a midfield rebuild next season. I won't be surprised if we'll start getting more game time next season. Along with that, I think we'll buy one more midfielder. I don't know who it is. We'll buy one more midfielder. If not Jude, we might go for, I don't know, Declan Rice or someone, a decent midfielder like Vinay actually says. Vinay says Frankie de Jong has pace, energy, can do swap with Silva too. But Vinay, in Maxima Parone, we have got the next Frankie de Jong. They say that's what everyone in Argentina and all the scouts who have looked at him, everyone says. Many of the opposition club fans, everyone agrees that Maxima Parone has pace. His he really has good pace. He has pace as much as Frankie De Jong. And another player which we have forgotten along with Calvin Phillips is Sergio Gomez. It will be interesting to see where Pep plays him next season. I don't know how Sergio Gomez will play in the midfield for us. I actually do not know. But will Pep persist with him in the left back position? I won't. No, I won't be surprised if Sergio Gomez goes out on loan next season. So a lot of permutations and combinations there. But one thing is we are going to get a fast, pacey winger, and I think that is going to be Rafael Leao for sure. If not Rafael Leao, I don't know who it's going to be, but I firmly want Rafael Leao. I won't accept anything else. Any transfer window without Rafael Leao might just be a failure actually on our part, regardless of whoever we get. That is actually true in a Frankie de Jong. Should we have swapped with him? I think last season maybe there were a lot of rumors that were coming right before the start of last season that Barcelona were in for Bernardo Silva and stuff. So I think we should have asked for a swap there. Vinay says our wingers love back passes. I think more than them loving back passes. I mean Leipzig. I'm okay with them back passing in the Leipzig game, but in general, I'm not okay in the Forest game, for example, against Everton. I mean, who back passes against a fracking Everton who hadn't won in the last 6 7 games when we played them? I think it spoiled all of a new year, actually, I would say. So, apart from the Leipzig game, I'm disappointed with the back passes, but I actually think it's a tactical decision by Pep telling players to do more back passes. It can't be that Grealish loves back passes. Foden, who's so aggressive in the attack, loves back passes. I don't think that can actually be the case. So I think this back passes is a conscious instruction by Pep Guardiola actually, so that we retain possession and don't concede counter attacks. I think unless the structure changes, I think we are gonna see more back passes. But the good thing is Pep is at least finding a way to win even with those back passes. So that's actually the good thing. But I do agree that there are some games where you need to do back passes and you need to keep control. But I still think if Pep has the midfield that he wants, I think those back passes will actually end because there have been many instances when Pep himself has told, I mean, especially during his time at Bayern, during his time at early on here as well, how much he hates back passes. There are videos where Pep there was a video where Javi Martinez, I think it's Arturo Vidal actually. There was a video where Arturo Vidal plays a back pass when Pep was at Bayern, and Pep really shouts at him, "Why don't you play forward? Why do you play back?" Pep is always of the opinion that you play back to you actually play football to attack. Back passes are generally not allowed unless there's no way out there. So it's surprising. This is uncharacteristic of Pep. What Pep is actually doing. I think his this is not the Pep style of football. I mean, just look at it as a personality. How is Pep? Pep is courageous. Pep wants you to play on the front foot and things like that. It's not all gung ho, but Pep. Pep Guardiola was always touted as a coach who has no. He doesn't care about defense. All he wants is attack, attack, attacking. You're seeing Pep teams play like this. We would not have even imagined. I think all of this goes back to not having the right structure in the midfield, especially, and Pep not being sure of his fullbacks, not being sure of the midfield structure that they can prevent counter attacks. And I think that's and Pep also not being sure of the centre backs having the pace to defend those large spaces. Bournemouth goes back, and I would say it's been a decent half. But Phil Foden gets the ball, and Phil Foden should score, and Phil Foden does with an emphatic finish. Wonderful finish from Phil Foden. If only he would have done this against Forest, but let's leave the past where it is. Wonderful finish from Foden. I think this could be the game-changing moment for Phil Foden in this season. He's had an assist for Haaland. He's had a goal. He's had a goal himself. A lot of questions leading up to this week have been, especially to Pep, that is Foden going. A lot of the outside fans, even some of our fans, have thought that Foden might even leave the club, which is of course not going to happen. Pep had to address questions why he was leaving Foden out for so long, and wonderful response from Phil Foden again. What a finish from Phil Foden. I mean, inside all of those misses last season against Forest and stuff, this finish was almost similar to. I mean, I think it was difficult than what Foden had against Forest, but amidst all of the Foden not being in form and all of those things, you must remember that he's still insanely young, just 21 years of age, 22 years of age, and at that age you go through ups and downs, and I'm happy that he's cut that rust off. Foden is so key for us in the Champions League game actually against Leipzig. I know it's in 2-3 weeks time, but still good finish, excellent finish, Vinay, wonderful finish. See, this is why he actually didn't score last game against Forest, because he was obviously rusty, playing after so many days. I actually think it's halftime. But what do you guys feel about this combination? Grealish, uh, Vinay says Leipzig again one today. Yes. Jessica, thank you for reminding me. I've actually changed it. But what do you guys think about this formation of Grealish, Haaland, and Foden? Because if you guys remember, okay, apart from Forest, the last time we played, I think we have played this formation only thrice, including this match. The first one was in the demolition of Manchester United 6-3 at Old Trafford. Should have been 9-3 or 10-3 actually. After that, somehow Pep never played this combination of Grealish, Haaland, and Foden. Never started with it, at least. And against Forest, he did that, and we were in control, good tempo, and stuff like that. Okay, we dropped points there, but again here Pep starting that same formation: Grealish, Haaland, and Foden. And look at the kind of attacking tempo we are having. So, do you think that this is the best formation going forward? Will Pep play this formation, for example, against Leipzig in the Champions League? Leipzig is going to be a tough game, no doubt, no doubt. Winner. Leipzig is going to be uh, absolutely a tough game. So, but in 3 weeks' time, you never know how. I mean, in football, one game or one week is enough just to turn the form upside down, just to have results go against you. So, 3 weeks' time, you just do not know at that point of time how the injury condition of Leipzig could be, how our injury condition could be. So, 3 weeks is a lot, especially in this World Cup congested year, where games go thick and fast. So I think in the next 3 weeks we probably play 6 games, including that Leipzig game. So the schedule is so congested. Vinay says we no longer need KDB profile player. That's an interesting question, Vinay. That's an interesting question. I think we need and we do not need. I don't know. I mean, you. It's actually a very interesting question. I have to think about it because KDB profile player Pep is definitely not happy with KDB just can be kind of a player playing those expansive, through balls through the midfield. One thing we know for certain is Pep does not want us to play expansive through balls through the midfield if we want to find Haaland. The one way which Pep wants us to find Haaland is, like you have said, 1-2s, the third man runner, for example, a Gundogan from midfield or someone like that. Probably Pep wants that kind of a thing. If you want to build up through the middle, contacting Haaland. Or the second thing is, out wide crosses. That's why this season I've seen a lot of times, Kevin De Bruyne occupy those flanks and he's tried to put the ball inside from those flanks. Chelsea first half was an example where Joao Cancelo was stuck out on the right hand side and he was told to put balls to Erling Haaland from there. So KDB profile player is needed, but you don't need him putting balls through the midfield probably. Pep does not want him to put balls through the midfield, and I also think he maybe prefers Julian Alvarez with much more control with his. The thing with Julian Alvarez is, I think Julian Alvarez does one thing better than Kevin De Bruyne. That is play those 1-2s. He plays those 1-2s extremely well than Kevin De Bruyne, for example. But no doubt, De Bruyne is one of the best playmakers in this league has ever seen. Is one of the best playmakers in the world. But it's just that I won't say we don't need him, but or we don't need that kind of a profile. But I think Pep, especially with Haaland, is deciding to use that kind of a profile of a KDB, expansive Ozil, for example, Ozil KDB, that kind of profile of players. Pep wants to use them on the flank, putting crosses into Erling Haaland. Vinay says, I'm asking because he's aging, laxing press, no more track back, which is important for counter. That is, yeah, that is true. He's aging and stuff, but I mean, more than the defensive side, I think Pep is also not happy with. You're right about the defensive side, especially I think not Arsenal. I think Spurs game was an example, right? When we were losing 1-0 or Spurs away, we were losing 1-0 and KDB was just, tracking back. I think that was a clear glimpse of KDB, his legs are not. It's not that he does not want to press, but it's just that his legs are not cooperating with him anymore and stuff like that. But thinking in a deeper way, do we need a KDB kind of profile of a player in terms of, what KDB was in 2017, 18, 19, all those seasons, putting balls through, for example, for fun, long range, expansive passes? Does Pep actually want that kind of a player right now? And I don't think because in a false nine you could try those expansive passes because for one the opponent did not know who would make that second man run, who was that striker. The strikers always used to rotate, right? So it was always a mystery. You did not know whom to mark. But now with Erling Haaland, even if Kevin De Bruyne tries that ball, the defense on the other side knows. Okay, even if De Bruyne tries those expansive through balls, we know who he is targeting. Let us cut off that passing lane between Haaland and De Bruyne. This wasn't the case when you were actually playing with a false nine because you did not know whom to mark, which passing lane to cut off because multiple players could play in that false nine situation. So I actually think it's a different philosophy that is coming out now. That's why I think it's not so easy as we are thinking switching from a striker system to a false nine system. There's actually a lot more this thing because teams are definitely offering more cover to Erling Haaland defensively. So it's not becoming easy to penetrate, especially Forest you have seen, especially when they sit back, for example. Okay, we have had chances against Forest, but generally they sit back, they cover Erling Haaland. What do you do? In a false nine system, it was impossible to cover. Even when you're sitting in a low block, you did not know whom to mark. Vinay says Frankie de Jong, Rodri, Rice, rate. Frankie de Jong, Rodri, Rice. I think it's. For me, I think I cannot compare Rodri and Frankie de Jong, but because I think both do a different kind of a role. Because for me, Rodri actually sits there. Rodri is a pure CDM, but whereas Frankie de Jong is more of a box to box player. But definitely, Rice. I think Rice and Frankie de Jong are actually more comparable. I think I would go Frankie de Jong anytime over Rice, but just in terms of rating at the level of players there, for me it would be Rodri, Frankie De Jong, and then Declan Rice. Rodri for me is the best DM in the world right now. Okay, this season performances have dipped a bit, but just in terms of class, in terms of qualities, Rodri is the best DM. So for me, it's Rodri, Frankie De Jong, and Declan Rice. But I think a fair comparison would be between Declan Rice and Frankie de Jong because that is their best role. I think the best role of Declan Rice actually is box to box, and best role of Frankie de Jong is also box to box. I think Frankie de Jong is technically unpressable, whereas Declan Rice, if you get your angles right, if you get your pressing structure right, you can press Declan Rice. I've seen him being pressed a couple of times, but Frankie de Jong, I think, is on par, unpressable. Frankie de Jong can actually do the work of two players. Actually, that is something which Declan Rice still does not have the intelligence to do. Because I was watching United Barcelona and Busquets was, he's so old he couldn't do anything, and Frankie de Jong was doing Busquets' job as well as his job. It was just the brain of Busquets, but de Jong was doing the running for Busquets as well as as well as he was playing. He was doing his part as well. So Frankie De Jong for me would be a dream signing for Pep Guardiola, but I just hope that Maximo Paron becomes as good as Frankie De Jong. Vinay says they are showing all Haaland runs, 5 to 6 runs. Even against Leipzig, for example, Vinay, there was a lot of off-the-screen runs which Haaland makes. I mean, Nottingham Forest, every match Haaland makes runs which are off the ball. Some excellent runs which are off the ball. So I actually think sometimes we need someone like Andrea Perlo there, sitting beside Rodri, for example, playing that box to box role, because Andrea Perlo is famous for his deep lying passes. I think we need a deep lying playmaker who can actually dictate the play. I think we're missing someone like that. And Maxima Paron is actually like that. He is a deep lying playmaker as well. He can dictate play from deep. So I think the best way to play with Erling Haaland is you have a deep lying playmaker, someone of the ilk of a Andrea Perlo or even a Xabi Alonso, someone like that. Not Sergio Busquets, but Xabi Alonso and Maxima Paron, and then you have someone who can play in between the spaces. Maybe someone like a Julian Alvarez playing in that hole. Actually, I think that is the best setup to go with Erling Haaland. Vinay says that midfield gives defensive cover, giving Frankie De Jong KDB role. He'll also defend as well. Exactly, Vinay. I think, and also one of the other things with Frankie De Jong is his deep line playmaking ability. I mean, KDB has that, but I've not seen KDB, dictate play from deep so efficient. I mean, it's not his role. So you're right. Frankie De Jong can offer the defensive solidity as well. And also, I think the role of Julian Alvarez is very interesting here because you might have observed, I think Pep literally wants to utilize Julian Alvarez like he was utilizing Lionel Messi at Barcelona. Otherwise, why would you stick Julian Alvarez in that middle, in that hole? Exactly, it's the same position which Pep was taking Lionel Messi in. I think as soon as Pep saw the qualities of Julian Alvarez, Pep saw the what he can offer, his close control, his dribbling, it's just I mean, I know he doesn't dribble like Messi, but his close control, he's got a great shot on him, both left foot, right foot. He can go both ways. He's an excellent presser of the ball. I think Pep has seen all these qualities from Julian Alvarez, and suddenly there's a spark that has glown in the eyes of of Pep Guardiola. I think that's why a lot of people have been complaining in fan forums, and that why doesn't Pep play Julian Alvarez alongside Haaland, or why doesn't Pep play Julian Alvarez as winger and stuff. I think in this channel also we were wondering why doesn't Pep play Ford and Haaland Alvarez? That would be a bomb combination, excellent combination. But I think Pep has seen that Julian Alvarez can fit in that hole extremely well. Well, if Pep thinks that, because Pep has the only other player that Pep has played in that hole is Lionel Messi. After Lionel Messi, Pep used to play Thomas Muller in that hole. And after that, I don't think Pep has played that hole at City. Okay, we played with false nine, but generally it would be David Silva and De Bruyne, two eights, for example, two central attacking midfielders, not playing there. So I don't think, apart from Lionel Messi and Thomas Muller, Pep has played anyone else in that hole. And now it's Julian Alvarez. So you can understand the kind of profile you're looking at. Lionel Messi, Thomas Muller, Pep sees the talent of Julian Alvarez to be there. And what's interesting is there were a few River Plate fans. It was an excellent interview when we signed Julian Alvarez. There was an interview by a River Plate fan who was following River Plate for very long. We were all thinking Julian Alvarez is the next Sergio Aguero and all. That River Plate fan told that I think you guys are actually mistaken. Having seen Julian Alvarez right from his younger days, making his debut into River Plate and stuff, we see, especially here in Argentina, we see flashes of, not flashes, we see a Thomas Muller kind of a player in Julian Alvarez. That astounded me what he said there, and then I forgot. And now I think with what Pep is doing to Julian Alvarez, you can remember. I think you can see why Pep is playing Julian Alvarez in that hole and not in the striker position or in the right wing position. I know things might not be going well for us right now, but I think we must give Pep time because when if Pep has identified Julian Alvarez as to play there long term, then it must be something Pep has seen in him. Vinay says, can we mold Alvarez as a 10? I think so, Vinay, but I wouldn't exactly say a 10 as well because because like I said, it's that role of it's not a 10, but it's that role of a false 10. I know it is a bit this thing, but I actually think it's a false 10. I think which Lionel Messi and Thomas Muller have actually played. So they play in the hole, but they have the option of making those runs into the box like Alvarez did, for example, and occupied the far post for Haaland for the first goal with the Haaland assistance, things like that. So I think that is the role, a very interesting role because at first I was skeptical, why the hell is Pep playing him there? But this might actually prove to be one of the greatest master strokes that Pep has actually done in terms of not only Julian Alvarez's career, but in terms of improving the connection and the contact with Haaland as well, I think. Because that was the last thing. Which other coach would have played Julian Alvarez, for example, in that role? I don't remember any other coach who would have the guts to play Julian Alvarez there because you have a proven goal scorer who, for example, in the World Cup did extremely well playing in a 4-4-2 position, right? You have a proven goal scorer at such a young age who's been compared to Sergio Aguero and who's been even compared to Carlos Tevez in terms of his pressing intensity and stuff. And you could stick him on the wing and anywhere, but no, it's a bold decision by Pep, and I see a lot of this thing in him. Short term, yes, there might be frustration. Short term, yes, we might not get much from Julian Alvarez, but wow, what a master stroke from Pep. This is if Pep really persists with Julian Alvarez. Well, Calvin Phillips is actually coming on. I think, has there been a substitution? No, I don't think. Maybe I've been mistaken. I don't know, but I've seen Calvin Phillips there. Easy coming on. Or no, I don't know. But yeah, long range shoots. Alvarez, yeah, I mean, exactly. Alvarez can press 1-2 near the box, can track back. Exactly, like all of the qualities you mentioned, which KDB is not able to do, right? Due to his age. For example, KDB at 27 would have done everything that Alvarez did. Probably one thing Alvarez still would have done better than what a KDB in his prime would have done is, keep the ball. Because in those holes, I think Alvarez has excellent close control. KDB's job is not that of close control. So it's useless comparing players of two different profiles. But I think Alvarez is everything that Thomas Muller had, and dare I say this, but Lionel Messi had. So not to forget, yes, long range shoots. He can press one twos near the box, which you were telling previously as well, right? We need to have that contact one two with Haaland, because Haaland is actually isolated a lot, right? In the previous games, it was almost Haaland up front and everybody else. That has been the source of frustration more than anything else, and I think this is how Pep is setting out to solve his problem. So that's why I think whatever happens this season, we need to be patient, because I think we all can see the transition, how it's slowly shaping up. Has there been any substitution? Because I've just missed it. Is Calvin Phillips on, or did I just see it by mistake? Because he quickly walked with the jersey out with the team. So I don't know. And also, I think Josko Guardiola might be very, very important for us to buy next season as a centre back, especially if Laporte leaves. I think getting Guardiola would be an upgrade on Laporte, and having Guardiola at the back, having Haaland up front, that would just be fantastic. Vinay says Bastoni, but Vinay, is Bastoni right footed or left footed? I'm not sure about that, because I think he's maybe right, but he's left footed. We can have a thing on him. We can have a look on him, because Bastoni is very good. I mean, he's very good defender. He's excellent on the ball as well. But my only thing is, he's probably right footed. I think I'm not sure about that, because I think we are clearly looking for a left footed defender in the summer, because Laporte, I think in this system we'll have to talk about the centre backs as well. This system again, when you have to defend large spaces, I don't think you can play with Laporte and Diaz, because we know that Diaz is very important, and alongside Diaz, alongside Diaz, I think you need a fast defender. So I mean, because I think you can compare Ruben Diaz here to Carlos Puyol, because both have the same. I mean, I don't say that he's at that level already. He's just 23, 24, but there are qualities of that. Excellent leadership. He's a rock. He's a beast. Physically, he's just excellent. So I think you can compare Ruben Diaz with the Carlos Puyol. So I think, or for example, even a Nemanja Vidic, for example, that can also be a comparison. So that kind of a thing actually. So I think alongside Vidic, you had Ferdinand, who had very good pace, who had decent pace, more than decent pace, who could track back. Alongside Carlos Puyol, you had Gerard Piqué, for example. So Jessica says Maldini is a stress. If I compare Ruben Diaz to Maldini, I think AC Milan Ultras will be here. They might land on the terrace of my building and take me to Italy and bash me up. But yeah, so you can see Ruben Diaz developing in that mold. I think the thing about centre back combinations is, I think it's when you give the centre back the right partner that suits the system, you can just see the system goes so well. In a false nine system, you had more control in midfield, which meant that you could play with Ruben Diaz and Aymeric Laporte, even though you had large spaces back, because in a false nine system, you always had that extra overload in the midfield, so your press would be much more intense, and the opponent had that much less time to pick his head up and play the ball. But right now, with striker system, it's different. You have that one less player in the midfield. Okay, your fullbacks can invert, but still it's not the same as playing with the false nine system. So opponent is able to pick those balls over the top and stuff like that. So I think it's important to find a partner who's pacey with. I won't say pace as a Kyle Walker and things like that, but a partner for Ruben Diaz was decent pace, and I think Josko Guardiola is actually that guy. If it takes 100 million to get him, I think we get him. We sell Aymeric Laporte, we get at least 40-50 million in the worst case scenario. Well, if Fofana is 90 million, Laporte should be at least 40 million, right? That's the least we can expect. And I think spending 60 million for Josko Guardiol back then is just a steal, I would say. If Cucurella is 70, then Guardiol definitely 60 is a no-brainer for Josko Guardiol. Great ball there. What a strike! What a strike from Julian Alvarez! That is the strike. That is the strike of a wonderful and established striker. You know, look at the attacking instinct with which he goes for the goal. That is wonderful from Julian Alvarez. What a strike again by Julian Alvarez. City are engaged in the gears here. Wonderful from Julian Alvarez. That is poacher's instinct. You know, the first goal which Alvarez scored was poacher's instinct. Going at the post, and look at it here. It's the anticipation and the snapshot. That is what they say, the snapshot, and it was never easy, that snapshot. Wonderful, wonderful from Julian Alvarez. Oh, is it an own goal? But it would be harsh, I think. Is it actually an own goal? I think it's harsh actually, because it was, yeah, it doesn't matter, but it was actually Alvarez did it right. Alvarez took the shot, and even if it's an own goal for us as City fans, it's Alvarez goal, because Alvarez made the goal. So that is, again, look at it, the poacher's instinct. I think playing Alvarez in that hole again has this advantage as well. I think when you actually flood the box, who's getting ready? Is it Sergio Gomez? Sergio Gomez is, yeah, getting ready. For a moment, I was excited because I thought I read an E on the back of the jersey, and I thought maybe Maximo Parone is coming. Alvarez is better than Torres. Yeah, Alvarez is definitely better than Ferran Torres. Alvarez is an upgrade on Gabriel Jesus, I would say. I mean, but Ferran Torres, I mean, yes, Alvarez is better, but I think it's fair to compare Gabriel Jesus and Alvarez, I think, because that is, realistically, that is the position he has replaced, right? And people say that, Arsenal fans, most of the other club fans say that, oh, you let Gabriel Jesus go, this and that. But look at the efficiency of Julian Alvarez here. What, 2 shots on target and 2 goals. Alvarez, I mean, I think we have always maintained it on this channel that the finishing of Alvarez, I rate the finishing of Alvarez as high as Erling Haaland, for example. If someone has a 99 finishing in FIFA, then people might be tempted to say it's Erling Haaland, but no, it's Julian Alvarez. If you create a player with 99 finishing in FIFA, that would be Julian Alvarez. His finishing is so deadly. Left foot, right foot, doesn't have a weak foot. So you could pretty much sense a ruthlessness of David Villa, for example, in the finishing of Julian Alvarez. I know the comparison is again a stretch, but Julian Alvarez is just on another level. He's definitely an upgrade on Gabriel Jesus. We have Julian Alvarez against Real Madrid last year in the Champions League. We win that match. The chances that fell to happen, Gabriel Jesus, Julian Alvarez scores them on his worst day. So that is how ruthless Julian Alvarez is. What a ball that is. Phil Foden does well to recycle possession. But Ferran Torres, I think Ferran Torres is interesting because I wouldn't compare Ferran Torres with Julian Alvarez. For me, Ferran Torres is a right winger actually. We all know he's a right winger, but I think you need to compare him with. I mean, was he an upgrade on Raheem Sterling, for example, when he came in? I don't actually think, or I actually think we bought in Ferran Torres to as a long term replacement of Raheem Sterling. I know obviously that didn't work out because Torres has had a greater finishing ability than. Oh wow, Calvin Phillips is also coming in. Our boys are getting a look in. Calvin Phillips is coming in and Sergio Gomez is coming in. Ferran Torres is much better finishing than Raheem Sterling, but the movement of Sterling is just excellent. So I don't think I can compare Alvarez to Torres, but for me, I can compare Torres to Sterling, and it's 50-50. I don't think either is ahead of the one. One is weak in finishing, and the other is weak in movement, probably. Yeah, just overall, I mean, overall, not just the position, but overall the type of player. If you ask me, Alvarez is way better. Alvarez is far better, I would say, because the all-round profile of Alvarez, he can play all the places across the center, and also I think apart from the CDM role, Alvarez can play in all of the roles. Alvarez would be very good in that box-to-box role as well because of his energy, his pressing, and all of that stuff. So Alvarez can, the versatility of Alvarez, especially at 19, 20 years, it's just awesome. Alvarez is just something else, I would say. Definitely, overall Alvarez is way better. But if you ask me position to position comparison, then I would be actually it will be a bit difficult because they play a bit of a different positions. Erling Haaland, the ball just goes out of his reach. Bournemouth, I think, will now be doing damage limitation and that's all. But I think Pep should bring on Maxima Parone as well. I hope he brings him on. Just want to see him have his substitute debut for City, if not full match debut. I think Pep will play Maxima Parone at Bristol City. Pep will play Julian Alvarez at Bristol City. I'll actually keep a close eye on Calvin Phillips and how he performs. Because if Calvin Phillips can just catch some form, Rodri will get some much needed rest. Sergio Gomez slips and Bournemouth are on the attack. I think it's important for us to keep a clean sheet here. That's very well defended. Remember, Bournemouth are not that easy to play against. They had a draw against Newcastle, for example, recently. So it's not the Bournemouth of the first half of the season. So we need to keep that in mind. Bournemouth are not that easy of an opposition to play against. Especially, we are on a terrible run of fixtures. Forest away, Leipzig, Arsenal away, for Leipzig, Arsenal away, Forest away, Leipzig away, and now this Bournemouth away. I think this is our fourth or fifth fixture away in a row. So that is very well done by Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish runs through the midfield and it's a yellow card. The way Grealish is going through the midfield, someone just mentioned it very right. Just by James Ward-Prowse because it looks as if Southampton are going down. I think they lost today. So just by James Ward-Prowse, so you will suddenly have a new technique of scoring goals. Jack Grealish foul, James Ward-Prowse free kick. Otherwise, if you don't foul Jack Grealish, then it becomes another issue. So that would be just a fantastic idea. Teams will have another headache to deal with. And I think we can get James Ward-Prowse for cheap as well because Southampton it looks like they'll mostly go down. It's only a miracle that can save them now. The battle at the bottom will actually be very interesting, I think, as we get into the business end of the season, which is of course very far away. We are still 14 games, and still I think still it's 14 games to go till the end. Calvin Phillips. I would love to see the passing range of Calvin Phillips because the passing range of Calvin Phillips is, dare I say, it's especially the diagonals. I think it's more than Rodri actually. Erling Haaland gets the ball, and I would love Erling Haaland to get another goal today. Bournemouth on the attack. Just keep a clean sheet. Just keep a clean sheet, mates. Just keep a clean sheet. Phil Foden. Good strike by Nathan Ake over there. Very good strike. The Bournemouth winger has done well, but Manuel Akanji is back and Akanji does extremely well to ease him off. Akanji does wonderfully well. Wonderful defending by Manuel Akanji. It's already a yellow card for Calvin Phillips. I think well done, Calvin. I know it's actually going to be tough, but I think it's another thing which I didn't actually like because of people who were all saying that Calvin Phillips is actually rubbish. Calvin Phillips, and I don't know why we have got Calvin Phillips and all of that thing. I think we need to remember everyone was saying the same thing about Rodri as well, pretty much. When he came in, people said, how on hell will this guy replace Fernandinho? He's daylights behind Fernandinho. Especially in Rodri's first season. Rodri wasn't as good if we go back and to those seasons 3, 4 years back and remember 4, 5 years back. I think Phillips is actually going through the same thing. So Pep will exactly know what he's got with Calvin Phillips. Because selecting a CDM player, I will not say that Pep gets it wrong because he himself has played CDM. CDM is one of the most coveted assets in his team. So it's very rare that Pep gets a decision picking a CDM wrong, for example. So I actually think we need to give Calvin Phillips more time. That's the only thing. Just like we gave Grealish time, and we have an example as well, Fernandino over there just in front of us. Erling Haaland there. Erling Haaland has the ball. Wonderful, wonderful ball by Erling Haaland. And Julian Alvarez tries to shoot, but he just mistypes his shot, I think. Bournemouth are now going for it and they will need to go for it. Manuel Akanji commits a foul that is probably not. I mean, it was necessary. Bournemouth were breaking over there, but one for the team, Manuel. Well done, very well done. Sticking one for the team over there. Kanji had to do that. Otherwise, Solanke was off, off and running. Jack Grealish. What a ball by Jack Grealish, and Foden just couldn't reach it. Foden. That wonderful ball from Jack Grealish over there. Foden just couldn't reach it. He was just crowded away by players. So that is actually the risk of putting those through balls in. But still, we have controlled it very well, I would say. Bournemouth do well on the attack, and again well defended. Good defending by Ruben Diaz. Alvarez keeps it in, but he hands the initiative over to a Bournemouth player, and that is again very good defending. That is excellent defending there. I don't know who the player is there, but it's wonderful defending from Rico Lewis over there. Look at that 1v1 shoulder to shoulder. He's done extremely well, Rico Lewis. Very good defending. Now we have defend a corner over here, but Lewis had just gone unnoticed in the game, which means that he's played exceptionally well. What the hell was happening there? Just don't know. Look at how the players are fighting for a clean sheet. I think Pep will be disappointed if there's no clean sheet, whatever it is, whatever might happen. Is the referee checking something? I just don't know what the hell went on over there. Sergio Gomez, Ruben Diaz was just lying down on the floor over there and he was doing his defending. I don't think he can give a penalty for that. Don't think he can actually give a penalty for that. There are a lot of feet, lot of hands over there to be nigh and impossible for VAR to give a penalty. It's not a clear and obvious error. That is the term they would like to use a lot. Rico Lewis, Erling Haaland. Haaland does well to keep hold of the ball. Sergio Gomez now he's inverted inside in the midfield role and played to Rico Lewis. Interesting, both of the midfielders are inverted right now. Look at it, there are multiple attacking structures that Pep is trying, so we actually need to be careful. Rico Lewis gets the foul, but now both the fullbacks are inverted. This is an interesting structure. What is the formation that Pep is going with here? Do not know. They're showing the updated table now. The goal difference is 11 goals. Okay, Arsenal have a game in hand, but still it's 11 goals and 2 points behind. Our goal difference is actually mammoth. Plus 40. 14 games to go. Wonderful defending by Jack Grealish. Jack, be careful. Pep might play you as a potential left back. Jack Grealish had carelessly given the ball away over there. Pep will not be happy with that. Pep will not be happy with that at all. Well done by Calvin Phillips over there. Erling Haaland with the ball. Erling just recycle the ball through, and that's what he's done. I think City have slowed the tempo of the game now. I know there's a lot of time to go, and this is, I think, first time in a long time that been relaxed here. Watching City play. The Forest game was just the Leipzig game was so tense. The Forest game was so tense till the end because it was just 1-0 and it was so tense. The Arsenal game was of course tense till the end. So I think after a long time, but Bournemouth are getting joy down their left hand side. Vinicius Perone may come on. Wow, that is interesting. Let's hope he comes on. Let's hope he comes on because I'm desperate to see him play for a good 15-20 minutes actually. I mean, I'm interested because Pep has named him in the Champions League, that squad as well, and Pep has directly made him come to the first team because Pep could have, I mean, due to his age and stuff, Pep could have made him go with the EDS and stuff like he did with Kaiki, for example, in the past and others. But no, Pep put him straight into the first team. I mean, in the first team bench, the first 15. So I'm very interested. And Perone coming on. Ruben Diaz. Calvin Phillips, Ruben Diaz, Rico Lewis. Lewis is sitting almost in the DM position, but now I think he's playing an auxiliary DM and fullback, right fullback role. But Ruben Diaz, Calvin Phillips, Sergio Gomez is joining in the attack now. Rico Lewis. I think the ball was just a bit heavy there. Nathan Ake as well. Nathan Ake does extremely well. Jack Grealish loses the bloody ball in the box. It's a foul by Erling Haaland on a Bournemouth player. Just hope Perone comes on. Ah, no, it's Riyad Mahrez. And I actually think Perone is coming on. Riyad Mahrez comes on. He's in my fantasy team. Hopefully, he scores a goal. Riyad Mahrez is coming on and Jack Grealish off. Haaland is going off. Maxima Parone is coming on. There it is. Maxima Parone is coming on. Wonderful. So I think this is Julian Alvarez playing right now and Mahrez on one side and Foden on the other. And Maxima Parone playing in that hole which Julian Alvarez actually played. So I think now we have a midfield of. No, I actually think Gundo can play Cam and Gundo will play in that hole, I think, and then Maxima Parone will play alongside Calvin Phillips, I think. Let us see where Rico Lewis does extremely well under pressure, but his understanding with Mahrez is just off it. Excited to see Perone for 20 minutes. Wow. Yes, Perone is actually playing in the hole. This is interesting. Ah! If Perone would have collected that ball, no, it's actually Sergio Gomez there with the shot. But if Perone would have collected that ball earlier, I thought he had a shot. Perone's shot from outside of the Perone's long shooting is very, very good actually. It's extremely good. Just that his touch didn't help him on, and it's another corner for City. But Perone actually looks sharp. Perone looks very, very sharp. If you would have noticed the 1-2 that he played earlier, Vinicius need more for goal difference. Exactly, when I won 2 goals, not just goal difference, we'll announce that we are up and running. But we have time, I think. I expect Julian Alvarez to score one more at least. We should not concede right now. That's another thing. But at least impressed by Maxima Parone in the 1 or 2 touches which he had done. I know it's not a lot, but the way he's moving on the pitch, the positions he's taking up, it's actually very good. I think he's playing in a more advanced role than we actually have thought. Rico Lewis, Ruben Diaz. Good switch from Ruben Diaz and well done by Phil Foden to get it. Second ball, second ball, second ball, second ball, Calvin. Calvin Phillips, as usual, commits a foul. Learning the dark arts, Calvin. I wonder why he didn't do these many substitutions against Forest. Leipzig, I can understand, but anyway, let us not go into the past. That is over. Let us enjoy this result now. 4 goals up, probably one or two more goals, and that will be a fantastic end to the match. A lot of people were actually worried because of this cursed kit, the green kit. But we have actually done well in this kit as well now. Bournemouth with the attack. Mahrez does well. It's a goal kick for City. Good that Pep has gotten Sergio Gomez and especially Maxima Perron. I actually think people underrate him a bit because he's just 19 years of age, not having as much of a reputation, for example, as an Enzo Fernandez or someone like that. But the guy is just so fast in his thinking, his intelligence. It's just the guy start. They say that Pep. I think once or twice he stated the Pep is actually impressed by the tactical intelligence of Maxima Parone in training and stuff. So otherwise, it's rare that you see a young player being given so many minutes. So I mean, young player being given minutes so fast after he has come on in a Pep Guardiola team. What he's joined us in February, I think, and he's already. It's not even the end of February, and he's already playing few minutes for the team. So that's wonderful. Ruben Diaz, well done, Maximo Parone. Nathan Ake. Yeah, exactly. When I Paronet did good 1-2, and I think it's not the first time. I think it's the second time. First one was that for the Sergio Gomez shot. In the build up to it, Peron did very good 1-2, and right now he did excellent 1-2 as well. So I think this is the kind of I don't know why the hell he's bringing on Kyle Walker now. Pep doing Pep things again, but I think looking at the profile of players like Perone, like Julian Alvarez, which Pep seems inclined to play in that midfield role, I actually think in order to unlock Haaland, Pep thinks he needs those kind of players rather than someone with expansive passing. I won't say that De Bruyne is not good enough for the system. Well, De Bruyne is the best playmaker in the world. He's one of the best playmakers the league has seen. But with De Bruyne, I think Pep will play a little bit more differently. De Bruyne, and with that kind of a playmaker, I think Pep would like him to go wide and then put the balls in. The Bournemouth keeper catches it. Early, Kyle Walker does well. Calvin Phillips did a few good fouls. Apart from that, I've not seen anything else from him. Bournemouth on the attack right now. What is the exact role that Perone is playing here? If someone can tell me, because I'm being able to pick it up. What is his exact role? Does he have a role, or is he just floating in the midfield? Because for me, it seems that he's almost just floating in the midfield. Calvin Phillips does well. Kyle Walker. Calvin Phillips there on the ball. Calvin, just show us some of your passing range. That's what we want to see. Interesting. Sergio Gomez is almost playing on the left hand side. Yeah, Maxima Parone is playing in that hole actually, which Julian Alvarez earlier played, I would say. He's playing in that attacking midfield role. Ah, one much score. And there goes our clean sheet. No clean sheet. Pep will be very disappointed by that. Pep will not be happy by that. No clean sheet. There's the clean sheet gone. I think it's Jefferson Lama who has scored. Thank God it was not 1-0. I think it's probably a mistake by Diaz. He should have cleared it. Yeah, it's a mistake by Diaz, I think. Diaz should have cleared it more. Yeah, it's a mistake, but I mean, you could argue that how easily Bournemouth came, cut through us down our right hand side and stuff, but I think Diaz should be doing better. What the hell was that pass? What the hell was that pass back? If the second goal would have gone in now, panic station start. Here, I think Walker had almost sold Edison down the river. What the hell was that from Kyle Walker? Clean sheet gone. I'm actually not disappointed with that. I really wanted a clean sheet today just for our defense to have that confidence back. Rico Lewis does extremely well, and the ball was just a bit heavy. for Phil Foden to reach that. Calvin Phillips does well. Sergio Gomez on the ball. Phil Foden. Rico Lewis. Back to Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips. Julian Alvarez and is offside. I somehow feel that we playing in the striker system, we need to accept that we will concede a goal as a consequence. And due to the fact that we have a striker, I think we need to score at least two in order to get victories in games. I won't say that we'll never keep a clean sheet, but in general, I think we need to make sure we score at least two. It will be difficult for us to control games, especially with the striker. I know Haaland is out when you conceded the goal, but Julian Alvarez is playing as a striker and not as a false nine anyway. Bournemouth have now camped on the edge of our box. How dare they? Edison does well, otherwise it would have been 4-2. Foden should have cut that pass off. Again, mistake. First goal mistake was from Ruben Diaz, and now it's from. No, it's not a goal, but Foden should have cut that off. What are we doing at the back? It's just shambles at the back right now. We have played that through well. Riyad Mahrez there, Kenny. He does well to retain the ball. It's a triangle between Maxima Perron, Sergio Gomez, and Calvin Phillips. Yeah, Akanji no longer that solid. With Akanji, one of the problems is I think he's prone to have some on and off days because when Dortmund bought him in I think a few years back, I think it's not even now in 2018. I mean, long back when he was like 20, 21 years of age, Akanji was one of the most sought after defensive talents in the world. That's when Dortmund got him. And the thing with Akanji is it's the same concentration. Like on some days it's just excellent, but on other days it's just he has a bit of a lapse of concentration. I don't know why that has become kind of a creeping disease. In our team because even Laporte also seems to have this. Like against Nottingham Forest, Laporte had this brain freeze where Laporte did nothing to prevent the Forest goal. I agree there were mistakes elsewhere on the pitch, but Laporte did nothing to prevent that goal. He absolutely did nothing. And it was not the first time for Laporte as well against Spurs, if you remember 2019 Champions League round of 16, I guess, where we went out with that war, this thing. Laporte was responsible for at least two of Son's goals in that tie in the second leg. So Laporte also is prone to this. So Akanji is prone to this. Laporte is prone to this. The only one who I see when is very fit is very good is John Stones consistently. But the problem is Stones is not fit. Rico Lewis, I don't know why Sergio Gomez wanted to shoot that. It was always rising as it was coming onto him. Like when he was going on to shoot itself, you knew that the ball would fly over. I don't know why Sergio Gomez wanted to shoot over there. Calvin Phillips, Manuel Akanji. Sergio Gomez, Manuel Akanji. Yeah, that's when the summer I feel for this system you need a solid left-footed defender. And also another thing is you're playing two right-footed defenders. I know with John Stones as well that's the case, but John Stones Diaz, but Stones has much more concentration and Stones is more solid for me than Akanji. So I actually think Guardiola and Ruben Diaz would make an excellent pairing. Guardiola and Ruben Diaz would just be wonderful. Just imagine Guardiola and John Stones. That defense would be rock solid. I mean, overall, very happy with the tie. Okay, we don't have a clean sheet. That could be a tad disappointing, but in general, you could give that to Pep changing around, tinkering a lot with the system. Bringing on Sergio Gomez, bringing on Perone. Pep has actually made 3 to 4 subs today, so that might have actually disturbed the structure a bit, I think. But that could be the only excuse I have for us conceding that goal. But apart from that, the attacking play has actually been good. Now you might argue, have Bournemouth been bad? No, Bournemouth haven't been bad. We have been very good. Riyad Mahrez, they say that's a corner, but VAR is checking. VAR is checking. Is it a penalty? Probably Mahrez thinks, but is it a clear and obvious error? I don't know. It's a penalty. That's a stonewall penalty. That's a stonewall penalty, I think. If that is not given, then I don't know. That's a stonewall penalty. I'll be surprised if it's not given it. That's a clear penalty, right? Okay, it's outside the box. Right, he's given a free kick, right. It's outside the box. Why is Calvin Phillips standing over it? I do not know. I think Mahrez should be the favorite to take it. But it looks as if Calvin Phillips will be the favorite to take it. No, it's Riyad Mahrez. It's just gone over, just gone over. That would have been one of Riyad Mahrez's specialities. And I think the free kick should do it because just gone over. Mahrez should have got his goal. Just so unlucky from Riyad Mahrez. Yes, after a long time, right? Happy day in the Premier League, especially last time. I think it was Nottingham Forest, no draw. That draw so frustrated as the Leipzig. Exactly, we didn't have anything to celebrate. So it feels like after a long time that we have something to celebrate. Actually, Pep and Haaland just congratulating each other. I just wish that we supply Haaland like this. I know the service hasn't been perfect today, but at least impressed that Haaland hasn't been isolated today. Haaland has been more involved today with the pass, especially with Alvarez playing in that hole. So needs to be seen how Pep actually goes on with that in the future because Pep can't just keep Kevin De Bruyne on the bench for long. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Pep actually adapts KDB to a little bit of a deeper playmaker role. Like it could be a midfield of Rodri, KDB, and Julian Alvarez with KDB. But does KDB has the energy to play box to box? I do not know. A lot of questions here. But I think in this system, KDB could be even more effectively used for used by playing him as a deep line playmaker according to me. But let's see how what Pep actually does with this. JS just told you Edison is shit. He concedes 1 goal per game. Now I think the average XG of Edison is conceding at least 1 goal per game. If Edison would have kept a clean sheet today, Edison would have been I think the only the third player in in Premier League history, third or fifth player in the Premier League history to have more than 100 clean sheets. I think I don't know, but there was a record on. But as already does always, he has actually given that goal. I mean, we need to use this as a base to kick on, and we need to, I think, go on a run now. Every game is a final. I think the next game is against Bristol. Will be interesting to see what Pep does in that game because after that it's Newcastle. It's an early kickoff against Newcastle. Well, I hate the 6 o'clock game so much. So it's an early kickoff against Newcastle. So will it will be interesting to see what the squad that Pep picks against Bristol City actually. But I'm actually still intrigued by the structures that is going to involve Haaland more because just seeing with this, just going by his press conferences and stuff, even Pep is feeling it now that the time has come for him to involve Haaland more and more. It's not that he wants to, but Pep has been trying out different combinations. And for me, I think of everything I've seen this season, I think this looks actually to be one of the best combinations with Grealish, Foden, Haaland playing there, and with Julian Alvarez in the hole. Okay, we've conceded the goal. We have looked a bit shaky defensively, especially from 79th to 86th minute and so on. But that happens in football. That happens in football, and it is also partly due to the change in structure from bringing in Walker, and Pep has done a lot of changes. So happy with the way Pep has done this today. Will be interesting to see Pep continues this or will he just begin to change? How will he play Bernardo Silva? How will he play Kevin De Bruyne in this system? A lot of interesting things. The one thing I don't want to see again is back passes, back passes, back passes. Just involve Erling Haaland like Pep did today. Doesn't matter who plays in that hole. Doesn't matter who plays in that attacking midfield role. So very well done and a great victory for us. And I was excited to see Maxima Perron today. Had a couple of played a couple of 1-2s where he looked really impressive. I would love Maxima Perron to start the entire match against Bristol. Just play him in that sort of a Bernardo Silva role and just see how it goes. So I would love to see a midfield of Calvin Phillips, Maxima Perron, and probably someone else in the midfield. So, and probably a Bernardo Silva in the midfield. If we lose that match, we lose that match. But I want Pep to experiment in that Bristol City match. What I don't want Pep to do is play his first team, full team in that Bristol City match, and then play back passes, and then go out. That is not what is needed. If you just experiment with it, because we have Newcastle coming up as well on Saturday, for example. So let us see how it goes and enjoy the victory, guys. And see you all then for the Bristol City stream. And take care. See you.